I closed the sale on my boutique hotel chain for $38 million on a Tuesday morning in late September. The ink was barely dry on the contract when my daughter Jennifer insisted we celebrate that very evening at the Peninsula Club, the most exclusive private venue in Boston. She'd already made reservations, she said. Already arranged everything. I should have known then that something was wrong. Jennifer had never been the type to plan anything that didn't directly benefit her. But I was tired. Bone tired from 3 months of negotiations, due diligence, and sleepless nights wondering if I was making the right choice. My late husband Thomas had built the first hotel with me 40 years ago, when we were young and stupid and thought love and determination were enough. Turned out, they were. We'd grown from that single bed and breakfast in Cape Cod to 15 properties across New England. Thomas died 5 years ago, and I'd been running everything alone since then. The sale felt like finally setting down a weight I'd been carrying too long. So when Jennifer hugged me and said, "Mom, you deserve this. Let us take care of you tonight," I let myself believe her. The Peninsula Club sits on a hill overlooking the harbor, all glass and steel and old money. I arrived at 7, wearing the black dress I'd bought for the closing. Jennifer and her husband Derek were already there, seated at a private table by the windows. Derek stood as I approached, his smile wide and warm, his handshake firm. He'd always been good at making the right impression. That was his job, after all. Corporate consultant. The kind who swooped in, identified inefficiencies, and left with a fat check while people lost their jobs. Jennifer looked beautiful in a cream silk blouse, her dark hair swept up. She was my only child, my whole world after Thomas died. I'd given her everything, maybe too much. "To new beginnings," Derek said, raising his champagne glass. His watch caught the light. Rolex. I recognized it because I'd bought it for him last Christmas when Jennifer had hinted they were struggling with the down payment on their townhouse. We ordered dinner, scallops for Jennifer, steak for Derek, and I chose the salmon. The conversation flowed easily at first. Derek talked about a new client, something to do with restructuring a manufacturing company. Jennifer laughed at his jokes. I felt myself starting to relax. "So, Mom," Jennifer said, setting down her fork, "have you thought about what you'll do with the money?" Something in her tone made me pause. Too casual, too studied. "I have some ideas," I said carefully. "I want to set up a scholarship fund in your father's name. He always believed in helping young people get started in hospitality." "That's lovely," Jennifer said, but her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "But you should also think about yourself. You've worked so hard. You deserve to enjoy life." "I plan to," I said. "I'm thinking of traveling, maybe spending a few months in Italy." "Italy?" Derek leaned forward, enthusiasm radiating from him like heat. "Jennifer and I were just talking about investing in a villa there. Property values in Tuscany are incredible right now. With your business experience, you'd see the potential immediately." I nodded politely, not committing to anything. The waiter arrived with our entrees, and I excused myself to use the restroom. The Peninsula Club's facilities were predictably elegant. Marble everywhere, gold fixtures, the kind of excess that made me think of Thomas rolling his eyes. He'd always preferred simple things. As I washed my hands, I heard voices from the hallway. One of them was Jennifer's. "Just stay calm," she was saying. "Everything's in place. By the end of the night, we'll have control of—" She stopped abruptly. I stood very still, water running over my hands. I know," she continued, her voice dropping lower. "But she trusts me. She'll sign anything I put in front of her. Derek has the papers ready." My heart began to hammer against my ribs. I turned off the water slowly, carefully, not wanting to make noise. Through the crack in the door, I could see Jennifer speaking into her phone, her back to me. "No, she won't have her lawyer look at it. Not tonight." I told her it's just paperwork for the scholarship fund. She paused, listening, because she's sentimental about Dad. She'll sign anything that has his name on it. I felt something crack inside my chest. Not pain exactly. Something colder. I waited until Jennifer walked away, then counted to 30 before leaving the restroom. My hands were shaking, but I forced them still. I'd spent 40 years in business. I knew how to control my face, my voice, my reactions. When I returned to the table, a young man in a valet uniform was standing awkwardly near our table. He couldn't have been more than 25, with dark hair and nervous eyes. Derek was scowling at him. "I told you, we don't need anything," Derek was saying. "I'm sorry, sir," the valet said, "but I need to speak with Mrs. Walsh. It's important." "Mrs. Walsh is fine," Derek said sharply. "You can go." But I was already standing. "It's all right, Derek. Let's see what this is about." I followed the valet a few steps away from the table. Up close, I could see he was sweating despite the air conditioning. "Mrs. Walsh, I'm so sorry to interrupt," he said quietly, "but I think you should know. About 20 minutes ago, I was parking Mr. Brennan's car, that's your son-in-law, and I saw some papers on the passenger seat. They fell when I got out, and I picked them up. I shouldn't have looked, but..." He glanced back at the table. "They're legal documents. Power of attorney forms. With your signature already on them." The world seemed to tilt slightly. "My signature?" "Yes, ma'am. I recognized you from the photos in Boston Business Journal, the article about your hotel sale." He pulled a folded paper from his vest pocket. "I took a photo with my phone. I thought you should see it." I looked at the phone he held out. Even on the small screen, I could see it clearly. A power of attorney document, granting Jennifer and Derek complete control over my assets. My signature at the bottom looked perfect, too perfect. "They forged this," I said slowly. "I think so, ma'am. And there are more papers in the car. Something about transferring funds to offshore accounts." He swallowed hard. My mother was scammed by someone she trusted. I couldn't just. I had to tell you. I looked at this young man, this stranger who had more integrity than my own daughter. "What's your name?" "Marco Reyes, Mom." "Marco, do you have your phone with you?" "Yes, ma'am. I need you to do something for me." 10 minutes later, I returned to the table. Jennifer looked up with concern. "Mom, is everything okay? You were gone so long." "Everything's fine," I said, sliding back into my seat. "Just a small issue with my car, nothing to worry about." Derek had ordered another bottle of champagne. "So, Catherine," he said, pouring for all of us, "we actually have some paperwork we'd like you to look at tonight." "Oh?" Jennifer jumped in, her voice bright. "It's for the scholarship fund, Mom. Derek helped me draw up the initial documents. We thought if you signed them tonight, we could get started right away. You know, as a surprise. Something to honor Dad." She pulled a folder from her purse. Inside were several documents, neatly printed. I flipped through them slowly, pretending to read. "This looks complicated," I said. "It's just standard trust language," Derek assured me. "But the beautiful part is that Jennifer and I would handle all the administration. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. You could just travel, enjoy your retirement. And this section here?" I pointed to a paragraph in the middle. "It says something about transferring assets?" "That's just the initial funding," Jennifer said smoothly. "You'd put the money into the trust, and we'd invest it, generate returns, and then use those returns for the scholarships." I nodded slowly. "I see. And who controls the trust?" "Well, Jennifer and I would be the trustees," Derek said. "But only because we want to spare you the hassle. You'd still be the beneficiary, of course. Except that wasn't what the document said. If you read carefully, past the dense legal language, you'd see that I would have no control at all. Jennifer and Derek would have complete discretion over every penny." "This is so thoughtful," I said, setting the papers down. "But I can't sign tonight." Jennifer's smile faltered. "Why not?" "Because I need my lawyer to review everything. It's a lot of money, honey. I need to do this right." "But Mom," Jennifer. I kept my voice gentle but firm. "I appreciate this, I really do. But I'm not signing anything without my lawyer looking at it first. We can do this next week." Derek's face had gone very still. "Catherine, I understand your caution, but time is somewhat important here. There are tax implications. If we don't file certain documents before the end of the quarter, then we'll work quickly next week," I said. "I'm sure my lawyer can expedite things." For just a moment, I saw something flash across Derek's face, something ugly, then it was gone, replaced by his professional smile. "Of course," he said. "Whatever makes you comfortable." The rest of the dinner was tense. Jennifer tried to keep the conversation going, but there was a brittleness to her laugh now. Derek excused himself twice to take phone calls. I ate my salmon and watched them both, wondering how I'd missed the signs, wondering how long they'd been planning this. When we finally finished, I hugged Jennifer goodbye in the parking lot. She felt stiff in my arms. "I love you, honey," I said. "Love you too, Mom," she replied automatically. I watched them drive away in Derek's Mercedes. Then I pulled out my phone and made a call. "Detective Morrison, this is Catherine Walsh. I need to report a fraud." The next week was a nightmare of police interviews, document analysis, and confronting truths I didn't want to face. The power of attorney forms Marco had photographed weren't the only forgeries. There were bank documents, transfer orders, even a forged will that left everything to Jennifer in the event of my untimely death. Detective Morrison, a tired-looking woman in her 50s, laid it all out for me in her office. "Your son-in-law has done this before," she said. "3 times, actually. Always targeting older people, always with family members as accomplices. He was investigated in Connecticut 2 years ago, but the family dropped the charges. Why? Embarrassment. Shame. People don't like admitting their own children betrayed them." She looked at me with something like pity. "Are you sure you want to press charges?" I thought about Thomas, who'd taught Jennifer to ride a bike and read bedtime stories every night, even when he was exhausted from work. I thought about all the birthday parties, the graduations, the pride I'd felt watching her grow up. Then I thought about her voice in that hallway. "She'll sign anything I put in front of her." "I'm sure," I said. They arrested Derek at his office. The video of him being walked out in handcuffs made the local news. Jennifer called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. She showed up at my house the next evening. I'd been expecting it. "Mom, please," she said when I opened the door. "You have to understand. Derek said it was just borrowing. He said we'd pay it all back with returns from the investments. You tried to steal $38 million from me, Jennifer." "I didn't. Derek was handling everything. I just thought we were helping you set up the scholarship fund." "You knew," I said quietly. "I heard you on the phone that night. You knew exactly what you were doing." Her face crumpled. I was scared. Derek said if I didn't help him, he'd leave me. He said I was stupid and worthless, and no one else would ever want me. For a moment, I felt my resolve weaken. She looked so young, so lost, like the little girl who used to climb into my bed during thunderstorms. Then I remembered the forged will, the untimely death clause. "Did you know about all of it?" I asked. "About the will? About what he was planning if I wouldn't sign the papers?" She didn't answer, which was answer enough. "Get off my porch, Jennifer." "Mom," I said, "get off my porch. My lawyer will be in touch about the criminal proceedings." I closed the door before she could say anything else. I stood in my entryway, listening to her cry on the other side of the door, and felt absolutely nothing. The trial took 6 months. Derek tried to blame everything on Jennifer. Jennifer's lawyer tried to paint her as a victim of his manipulation. The prosecutor presented a mountain of evidence: the forged documents, the offshore accounts, the paper trail of Derek's previous scams. Marco Reyes testified about what he'd seen in the car. The judge called him a young man of exceptional moral character. Marco blushed and stammered through his answers, clearly uncomfortable with the attention. In the end, Derek got 8 years in federal prison. Jennifer got 3 years, suspended to 2 if she completed community service, and paid restitution. I sat in the courtroom and watched my daughter cry as they read the sentence. I felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped away my insides and left only the shell. But I didn't regret it. I couldn't regret it. After the trial, I kept my word about the scholarship fund, but I changed the focus. Instead of hospitality, I created scholarships for young people from working-class backgrounds who showed exceptional integrity. The first recipient was Marco Reyes, who'd been saving for college while working 3 jobs. "Mrs. Walsh, I can't accept this," he said when I told him. "You can and you will," I said. "My husband always said that character matters more than intelligence. You proved that." I also hired him as an intern at the foundation I was setting up to administer the scholarships. He was smart, hardworking, and refreshingly honest. Within a year, he was managing the whole operation. Jennifer served her time. She wrote me letters from prison, long, rambling apologies that always seemed to circle back to excuses. I read them all, but never responded. When she was released, she called me. I almost didn't answer. But something in me, some stubborn remnant of motherhood, made me pick up. "Mom?" Her voice was small. "I'm out." "I know. I was hoping we could talk. Maybe meet for coffee?" I closed my eyes. "Where are you staying?" "A halfway house in Dorchester. I'm working as a housekeeping at a hotel, minimum wage." She laughed, but it sounded hollow. Ironic, right? "What do you want, Jennifer?" "I want to say I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not like before. I've had a lot of time to think, and I know what I did was unforgivable, but I'm asking anyway. For forgiveness." I wanted to hang up. I wanted to tell her that sorry wasn't enough, that some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. But I heard Thomas's voice in my head. "Everyone deserves a second chance, Kathy, even when they don't deserve it." "One coffee," I said finally. "That's all I'm promising." "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." We met at a small cafe in Cambridge, neutral territory. Jennifer looked different. Thinner, older, wearing clothes from Target instead of designer boutiques. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore no makeup. "You look good," I lead. "I look like hell," she said, "but thank you for saying it." We sat in awkward silence for a moment. Then she said, "I'm in therapy. Court mandated at first, but I've kept going. The therapist says I have codependency issues, that I was so afraid of being alone, that I let Derek manipulate me into doing terrible things. That doesn't excuse what you did." "No," she agreed. "It doesn't. Nothing excuses it, but it helps me understand why I did it, so I can make sure I never do anything like it again." "What do you want from me, Jennifer?" She looked down at her coffee. "I want you to know that I'm trying. I got a year sober chip last month from Gamblers Anonymous." "You gambled?" "Derek got me into it. Online poker. I lost $20,000 before I admitted I had a problem." She shook her head. "There's a lot you don't know about me, Mom. A lot I'm not proud of." "Tell me," I said. And she did. For 2 hours she talked. About how she'd felt invisible growing up, always competing with the hotels for my attention. About how Derek had seemed like everything she wanted: confident, successful, attentive, and how slowly, imperceptibly, he'd isolated her from friends, from me, from everyone. About how the gambling started as fun and became an addiction. About how by the time she realized how deep in trouble she was, she felt like she had no choice but to go along with Derek's plan. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," she said finally. "I know I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to understand that I'm not that person anymore. Or I'm trying not to be." I studied her face, looking for the daughter I'd raised. She was in there somewhere, underneath the damage and the shame. "I can't give you money," I said. "I don't want money. And I can't promise we'll ever be close again." "I know. But if you're serious about changing, about really doing the work, then maybe we can find a way forward, slowly." Her eyes filled with tears. Really? 1 coffee a month, I said. You show me you're staying clean, staying in therapy, making something of yourself, and we'll see where it goes from there. I can do that, she said quickly. I will do that. And Jennifer? If you ever lie to me again, if you ever try to manipulate me or take advantage in any way, I will walk away and never look back. Do you understand? Yes, she said. I understand. It's been 3 years since that first coffee. Jennifer is still at the hotel, but she's a supervisor now. She's taking online classes in hospitality management. She's still in therapy, still going to her meetings. We have coffee twice a month. Sometimes it's painful, full of long silences and careful words. Sometimes it almost feels normal. Last month, on what would have been Thomas's 70th birthday, she brought flowers to his grave. I didn't ask her to. She just did it. I think about what Dad would say about all of this, she said, kneeling by the headstone. He'd be so disappointed in me. He'd be proud of you now, I said. For doing the hard work. For not giving up. She looked up at me, hopeful. Do you think so? I know so. It's not a fairy tale ending. We're not the mother and daughter we used to be. Maybe we never will be. But we're something new. Something built on honesty instead of expectation. And maybe that's enough. Marco is graduating from business school next month. I'm giving the commencement speech, talking about character and integrity and the courage it takes to do the right thing even when it costs you something. Jennifer will be there. She asked if she could come, and I said yes. Sometimes I think about that night at the Peninsula Club, about how close I came to signing those papers, to trusting blindly because I wanted so badly to believe my daughter loved me more than she loved money. I think about how a stranger saved me when my own family tried to destroy me. And I think about Thomas and how he always said that the hardest lessons are the ones that hurt the most. He was right about that. He was right about so many things. The hotel chain is thriving under new ownership. I see my former properties sometimes when I drive through New England. They've kept the names, kept the character Thomas and I built into them. That feels right. The scholarship fund has helped 43 students so far. 43 young people who might have given up, who might have compromised their values out of desperation or fear. Marco runs it with a dedication that would have made Thomas smile. As for me, I did take that trip to Italy. 3 months in Tuscany, staying in small family-run hotels, remembering what it felt like to be young and in love and stupid enough to think you could build something beautiful from nothing. I'm home now, living in a smaller house near the water. I'm learning to garden. I'm learning to let go of things I can't control. I'm learning that love and trust are 2 different things, and that you can feel one without granting the other. Jennifer calls every Sunday. We talk about ordinary things. Her work, my garden, the weather. It's not much, but it's real. And in this business I've spent 40 years in, I've learned that real is worth more than perfect every single time.